I'm a Grammy Award-winning music remix producer who's worked with Beyoncé, Michael Jackson, George Michael, and John Legend. As a film composer, I have scored over 100 films, the latest, The Family Business Season 4, and now appearing on Netflix.
My story begins, I'm 10 years old, and my uncles had an R&B band, and we would listen to them all the time. And so when they would leave the instruments in the front room, we would go in, my brothers and I, my cousins, we would go in and we would play the instruments or get on the instruments. And we weren't supposed to, but we did anyway. So one day my uncle called us and told his mother, said, "Mama, you can't let them be on the instruments because they'll tear them up." And my grandmother shouted, let those kids play on those instruments. You know, we learned the instruments like really quick. We formed a family band. We would perform in the front yards. We performed for Harold Washington. Time went on and things happened. And I went to high school, still being a musician, still playing guitar. I reluctantly joined the band because the counselor at Marshall, Gail Williams, said that I should take up beginner's band, not knowing anything about a horn or anything like that. So I decided to join the beginner's band. And the guys in the neighborhood said, "Hey, if you join the band, you can hang out with us and we'll show you what you need to know." As a result of joining the band, I took on a role of playing trombone. I was amazed at how fast I learned the trombone. And it was a brass instrument, of course, and I had no idea what I was doing, but I learned, but I trusted my ear. I was a ear musician at that time. And my high school band director, Delano O'Banion, put me in the concert band, advanced band, and I learned more about playing symphonic music. Senior year is coming up. We have seniors that were auditioning for college, for scholarships. And I can remember when the first year that the seniors were asked to audition. The Midwest Band Clinic would meet here every December. They come here every December, even now. What they do is they audition kids from around the world, and they come to Chicago to pick up musicians. So it was my turn. My group, it was 7 of us. Again, I took the scholarship, and I was, awarded the scholarship to the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff. Walking across the stage in June of graduation, I knew where I was gonna go. I knew my path was about to be set, and I was really thankful for that. So when I got to the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff, when I joined, I was in the band, I got the scholarship, and he knew I played guitar. So he put me in the jazz band as well. He put me in jazz band, and I played trombone in concert band and the symphonic and marching band. I was a marching band at the HBCU. So that was pretty fun. Those times were fun. Pledging the band fraternity, which is Kappa Kappa Psi, which is a national honorary band fraternity. And in that organization, we went around and we did things to help other musicians. It was about allowing us to grow as musicians and having the opportunity to meet other musicians and frat from other schools like Grambling State, Prairie View, Jackson State, Florida A&M. So I could go anywhere in the country and I have frat brothers. Time went on, and I graduated. Top of my class. Couldn't find a job when I got back to Chicago. So I wound up taking a job at Carl Fisher Music when I got back in '88. And I was a stock person. I'm not ashamed to say that. I met a lot of musicians during that time at Carl Fisher Music, some of my best friends right now. I got into the music thing and started meeting different musicians here in the city. And that's when things started to roll. I had a little small studio set up. We used to bring people over all the time to record. So now I'm doing electronic music with my partners and things like that. Been in the studio with a guy. These guys asked me to come in and play on their record. And as I'm playing on this record, they walked down from another studio and they heard the piano. They said, "Hey, who was that?" It was 2 guys. They said, "Who was that? Is that you playing?" It's like, "Yeah, that's me." Says, "Hey man, we got a studio upstairs and we do remixes and we do a lot of big productions. Say, would you mind coming back down?" 2 weeks later, I come back and they set me up in a room with a piano. I had never embarked on remix production before, but my second remix was Michael Jackson. I remember that clearly because we were in the studio and you could hear Mike's footsteps, you could hear his finger snaps and things like that. And I thought that was interesting. I let my mom hear it over the phone and all his grunts and things like that. It did well on the charts. That was with Biggie. We did a record with Michael Jackson and Biggie this time around. So that was the time when I was freelancing, making a little money after work, doing remixes and doing mild production for people that needed piano work, because I was still a budding piano player and guitar player. So turns out remixes were coming in. Mary J, Beyoncé, Destiny's Child, George Michael, John Legend. I could keep going. And so when these remixes are coming in, we do them, we keep going. So we embark on Beyonce one day, and then we get the call to do Crazy in Love. So about a year later, we get a call and says that the record was up for a Grammy for remix production. So my partner got the call, and he says, you going? I'm saying, I'm not going to California. So he called me from the Grammys and said, hey man, we just won. Of course I was happy about it, so that was a very highlighting moment for me. But I knew that was something different I needed to do. I knew that I couldn't just stay and do music and music production and beat making. I knew that there was something else, and I had another calling. So one studio had a film studio inside the loft. And so I walked in and I asked, I bet you I can put music to that film, to that scene. They say, for real? I was like, yeah, go get your stuff. So I went to my studio, which was next door, brought my keyboard back and set up, watched the scene, and laid music to it. It was easy because I'd already been doing remixes. They were in the studio blown away, and I didn't think I did that much, so they enjoyed it. Everybody was happy, and the director was saying, hey, could you finish this movie? I'm like, sure. My journey of being a musician has been just upward bound. Learning, composing right now is a joy. It's a joy to learn composing. It's a joy to sit in front of a computer and watch scenes, watch people act, and for me to figure out what they need. As a film composer, I've scored over 100 films, like stated earlier. I have several movies on Tubi. My biggest accomplishment right now is having movies on Netflix, The Family Business. I've scored season 4 of that. That was a pretty nice experience to have scored 10 episodes. It's a blessing to be able to do what you love and continue to do it.